City Jazz Sessions is about great music, arts, and entertainment. We are located in St. Louis, Missouri, and available to performance art lovers worldwide. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. You can email us at cityjazzsessions@gmail.com.
Hey, everybody. I am Leica, one of your co hosts of City Jazz Sessions. I'm here with Leon Davis, our other co host, and our production guy. And we have Katarra. Did I pronounce it
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Yes, our special guest. I've been saying her name wrong all these years, so I'm glad I finally learned it correctly today. Our special guest, based out of St. Louis, singer, songwriter, vocalist, doing all the good things. I feel I've been watching you for probably like the past couple years at least, and I feel like things have really just taken off for you. So we're so excited to talk about everything that's been happening and what you have going forward. So I first want to get into these new singles that you just dropped. And I know before this you had an album, correct?
Coco
Coco Voyage.
Voyage. Yeah.
Yes. But let's talk about these new singles that just dropped, and one of them you have a video for. So let's talk about that one first.
Oh yes, Slow the Rose. Yeah.
And I was kind of reading you gave a description about like what that term meant, what you were thinking when you wrote the song. So kind of explain that for people who haven't heard it yet.
It's basically about just stepping into the power of my authenticity, like stepping outside the box that not only did I place myself in, but a lot of people in society, or society as a whole may have placed me in. I feel like we live in times where mediocrity is very standard. And I feel like when you are something that's different from the norm, you are either outcast or misjudged. And that was me, kind of my rally cry for self love, is what I like to call it.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful song and it's also a beautiful video. So if you guys have not seen it, definitely go check her out on YouTube and you can see the video or on her Instagram. And then what's your other single?
The one that I brought out also last year is kind of a, I like to call it the B-side version of that. It's basically a electronic kind of pop-ish type of trance song called Nothing No More, and it's basically a up-tempo version of Low the Rose, just more so on the lines of breaking the habit or breaking the cycle of dead end relationships, of investing myself, putting my all into something that only leads to pain, cutting that off once and for all. So I
Right.
said, I don't need no leeching lovers. Let me bleed out on the floor, like, that I can do bad all by myself, type of deal.
Right.
Yeah.
We have all been there. I'm sure of it.
Well, let me
So
ask a
can
quick
definitely
question.
identify with
Let me ask a quick question. So you consider yourself non-traditional. Why do you consider yourself non-traditional?
As far as just genre speaking, I'm influenced by a lot of different genres and elements and different artists. My influences range from like psychedelic to classical to boom bap, hip hop music. Um, and I noticed, like, when I started performing more and putting myself out there as an artist, I was constantly kind of told to put myself in one mode, basically. Whereas I feel like I can't really mold myself to be something that I'm just not. I'm a plethora of different sounds. Um, and I just wanted to step out of me performing in general was me stepping out of my comfort zone, because I grew up as the stereotypical quiet, outcast kid that socially awkward, social anxiety, and just performing like took me years to even get over my own anxiety. And it's like, okay, when I finally did that, which is what the last album is about, Phoenix Rising, is like I'm rising from the ashes of who I used to be. But then when I did that, I came into this other giant, which was people's expectations.
Hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
when you look like me, people have expectations of you. They put you in a box. And I realized that since I was a kid, I never really fit in one box. I know that. I hope that makes sense. I kind of went all
That
over the
totally
place.
makes sense. That's beautiful. So, what do you feel like it was that kind of made you like kind of stand on your own, standing who you are, and not really fall to people's expectations of what they thought somebody like you should sound like or be like?
Oh man, that's a good question. It's so many things. Like in the beginning, when you were asking, I wanted to say rejection. um, it's like not caring what people think when you know you are truly, authentically just expressing yourself. I was a quiet person for a very long time. I held a lot in. I'm a very emotionally intense person. And music has always been one of those outlets to where it just pours out of me. And I got to a point to where I couldn't care anymore because if I was holding that in any
Right.
longer, it was gonna come out one way or another.
That's
Not
true.
not good ways sometimes, but it's just like music is that outlet. It saved my life, to not to be all super transparent, but it really has. Stepping
Hmm.
into my authenticity helped me step into finding out who I am in the first place. Stepping into that power to have the gall and boldness to be myself.
Yeah. I've heard this quote. It says, when one is lying, the entire body revolts. So I feel like, when we're
Man.
not being true to ourselves, like there's something in us that's just trying to like scream out and break out, like,
Hmm.
no, 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 no. Like, it's going to be like a life of the hard knocks until really step into
Yes,
who you are. And it doesn't
exactly.
mean it's going to be easy, but at least, like you said, I am who I am. Like this is authentically me, whether y'all like it or not, or whatever happens in life when you're, sitting in your own power. It's like nothing can really stop you at that point.
Especially when you are an artist. Like it's already, you writing these songs, you making things that truly come from, these are ideas and imagination led things that are in your head, and you are bringing them into reality. And it's like you got to deal with the fact that people are going to have judgments. You got to deal with the fact that you are being extremely vulnerable to people taking it whatever way they perceive it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I'm just like expressing how I truly feel in that moment because I need that outlet to release these pent up emotions. And exactly what you were saying before about how it's not going to be easy. That's where I was naive. I was like, okay, I got over the stage fright. I put some
Yeah.
songs. I like, okay, now people accept me. It's like, no, now you are open to judgment and criticism and feedback. And yes, most of it has helped me grow. I'm not saying everything that has happened has always been um, bad criticism and people trying to limit me, but it has been a thing of overcoming, not to bring it up, like racism and sexism, just perceived notions people have of me as a woman, as a black person, and as a black woman.
Yeah.
And my own, just, my identity goes in my music.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, um, what kind of feedback were you getting in the early part of your career that was making things, um, making you reevaluate what you were doing?
Mm, originally I always got good feedback, but I think it was more so of my own inner critic. Um, Cause it's funny now. Like, I feel like I have way more like stage presence and experience than I did when I first started. I thought I sucked. I was like, oh man, like, I'm super critical of like my beginning performances and like, even songs that I brought out and when I was a newbie, and it's like I always tell people it was a snowball effect of events that happened. People would see me perform here, invite me to this event or this show,
Yeah.
and it just kept going up and up and up. And then I noticed, I think it was more so my anxiety, limiting me, as well as, I guess you can say the feedback I was getting was the closest I can think of was people telling me not to. I'm just going to be honest, not to express my um viewpoints on speaking up about racism. I've always
Mm,
been a very open person about it. And it got to a point to where, the more I was in these white spaces, the more I could see like I was being treated certain kind of ways. And then, people
mhm.
find out I'm the performer and I get treated totally different. Or
Yeah.
it's a lot of stories, just even as a woman not being taken serious enough as a musician, or harassment, or people trying to get one over on you, thinking you don't know your business and the law. And
Okay.
so
Right.
I guess that's the feedback I was getting, is like, not it's like me speaking up for myself was being taken as offensive when it wasn't anything like that. So I just started putting it in my songs.
Yeah. So I kind of want to talk about some of the like performances that you had. I know you were at music at the intersection, right?
Hmm.
Talk about some of the most like recent like performances you've had, like bigger ones over the last year or so, and maybe some highlights of those.
Oh yeah,
And I met you the first time at the dark room. Thus I saw you perform there. I don't know what year it was, but um that was my first time seeing you perform.
mm, yeah, that was my, I wouldn't say it was my jazz stumping ground. That's how I got introduced to the jazz community. And I was always jazz influenced. Like when I was a kid teaching myself how to play, the first thing I played was seven chords. I didn't know what seven chords were. I was playing them with two hand, two
Oh
fingers.
my goodness.
Yeah. But I always had like this huge respect for jazz. I studied it a little bit when I went to Webster. But it always intimidated me like heavily, because I'm not like some crazy, I didn't go to the schools or get the classical training that most jazz musicians have. So I was extremely intimidated. I didn't even know how to solo at one point. And it was like getting that residency, I was forced. Like I learned how to improvise, and
Yeah.
started eventually doing solos, and started leading my band better. Just a lot of growth that happened for me as a musician. And getting used to, playing 3 hour long sets and stuff like that, like entertaining a crowd and making my own renditions of favorites. Um, that basically was my jazz stumping ground. And the
And the
end of it.
residency you're mentioning is the Kransberg
Oh yes.
residency. Just for, people who may not know.
Oh yes, Kreuzberg Arts Foundation, and they actually put on that music at the intersection. I performed at the Sheldon. It was again like another release for me, because I hadn't performed with my band in a while. That's one of my favorite moments in life, is being on stage with my band, being in flow, going through the highs and lows.
Yeah.
um, Yeah, and I got a standing ovation, which I hadn't got that in a long time. So that was
And
nice.
that's a beautiful venue too.
Oh yeah, oh God, yeah, it's
Yeah.
gorgeous. And the ironic thing is, I didn't even remember that place until I walked in. I was like, wait a minute. I performed at this place in middle school. I was in the freaking concert band. I played clarinet. And it was my
That's
band
funny.
teacher's. Yeah, he was retiring and we played on stage as a symphony, little junior symphony, and played for him. And I hadn't been in that place since I was like 14. And the irony
Wow.
to come back and perform on stage was like full circle.
Yeah.
So now that you're
So,
feeling
yeah.
more yourself on stage, how do you think that works with the audience? So I mean,
Um,
go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I
no.
really like this conversation y'all having. I enjoy just nerding out over the process. Um, the confidence, like being more comfortable because again, I come from, being somebody I couldn't even play, my fingers would be shaking, it was so bad. My voice would be shaking. Um, so it's like, okay, like people are actually being impacted by what I'm doing, like my intense emotions. Like I could tell, like people come up afterwards and tell me how it impacted them. And it's like, man, it's hard to explain. It's all cathartic for me. But it affects the audience because that confidence that I have in myself allows me to be more open, to talk to the people, to do back and forth stuff on stage, to just totally let it all go. And then when I open my eyes, people are like, "Whoa!" And I like to give people an experience. I like to have people experience what I'm experiencing when I wrote the song, because again, like I'm just an intense person.
Yeah.
Super sensitive.
And that was the other question is, some artists, they put it out there and then they let the audience experience whatever it is that they're experiencing. And then there are some artists like yourself that want to take their audience on a journey. They want the audience to be able to feel in the music what they're putting into the music. And do you feel that you're
Hmm.
better at being able to get that done now? To
Oh
take
yeah,
your audience along
definitely,
with you?
because yeah, and because I always had the songs, like the songs were always written. I always had like just oceans and oceans of raw feelings, raw pain, raw heartbreak to raw ecstasy. And I found a way to put it into music. And the only reason why I knew that I had that impact on people is because when I finally released, and because that's a part of stepping into my power is like, people talk about their alter ego coming out on stage. It's like
Yeah.
your true self really comes out, and everything that you've ever felt that has been pent up is released or transmuted, is what I like to say, through whatever you were singing. And I heal myself in that way. And then I realize, people come up to me or they send me something letting me know that, hey, like I thought nobody else would be able to experience what I'm experiencing, but you've been able to put into song something that I've experienced and haven't been able to explain. And as somebody that grew up quiet, unable to speak for themselves, I found a way to put what I was feeling through music, and in a way, like I was saying, not only heal myself, but heal whoever's experiencing that song with me. Um, and I only say this because other people have come in and like, at church give their testimonies and stuff. So it's like, okay, it's a formula to this.
That's beautiful. And we're creative beings. We are creation and we are meant to create. And I think every person, not just if you're an artist, but I think each individual person has to have something that they're using in a creative way, or and making something new or making something. I feel like it's just an innate part of us that we need to do as human beings.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like survival, like a driving force that it's that fire that keeps you alive.
Yeah.
not to make it that deep, but it
Hmm.
is a driving force to create. I mean, and oh god, here I go getting all philosophical. But humans need to procreate. It's all
Right.
creation, all that energy. That's just creative energy.
Absolutely. All right. So before you put out these two most recent singles, you had Coco Voyage before that.
Hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that. And I
Yes.
love the cover, by the way, for that one. It's so beautiful. Like it just, I mean,
Oh
it just goes with it, like
man,
perfectly.
that's my whole thing is I'm a huge escapist. If that I like to call that like that album a like modern Shakespeare romance kind of soul R&B thing. Not to bring up the genre stuff again, but it is in that aspect like that sweet spot of the '90s, that Lauryn Hill era type feel. That's another one of my influences, and it originally started off as just me just writing love songs about somebody who I felt intense passion for, and then it turned into this whole self journey and loving myself and dealing with the ups and downs of the emotions that I had. Because after that, I'm telling y'all all my business, but
We're
like
here for it.
literally a week before the release of the album, I was diagnosed with borderline and CPTSD, and that yes, it was like, oh snaps, this is serious. Like, this is real shit. Excuse my language, but at the same time, it was like, that's why I'm such an intense person. Like, the music goes through the highs and lows of my emotions.
Hmm.
And like I said, it was all cathartic for me. One of my favorite songs, of course, is the single I put out, Phoenix Rising. I really was like shedding, still am, like shedding past layers of myself that made me believe I couldn't even do music in the first place.
Wow.
Um, so Coco Voyage, that's my baby. Like, it's about, I named it Coco Voyage, melanin, like just to bring that Love Jones feeling back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I know you've also collaborated or been featured with other artists. I saw you on a single that or strings,
Oh
lights on,
yeah,
I think.
Stevie B&B. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Beautiful
Oh yeah.
song.
I
Beautiful
love
song.
that song. Yeah.
Yes. Any other like features that you've been on or collaborations? I saw, didn't you just recently post or somebody posted that you produced a song for them? It was a gentleman. It was a guy this week, I think, or last week.
Oh, I know. I have a song called "Nothing No More."
Mm-hmm.
Well, we just talked about that one. That one is produced by Nate Jones, aka Tenth Era.
No, it was
Um,
one. I'm thinking of one that you produced for someone else or that you wrote for someone else and they sang it. Am I
I don't
thinking
know about
correctly?
that.
Okay, let me.
Yeah,
I'll have to go back and look.
I
But it
have
was
some.
some.
Yeah, I have some collaborations coming up.
Hmm.
Just been, cause man, people have no idea how much. I mean, some people know, people in the music community know, but people in St. Louis in general have no idea how many gems of artists we have here and musicians.
Yes.
And I find somebody new and dope every day, like
Yeah.
just watching podcasts like this,
Hmm.
and just trying to put myself out there more, stepping out of my social anxiety. And I really got cool with a lot of people in the production community. And ironically, most of the producers are like jazz drummers and musicians. And I notice how everybody is like in this beautiful community, and it's really supportive. Everybody is dope, like people jam together. And I
Yeah.
think that's why I've been so attached to like the jazz community and the production community, because it's like that underground soft spot of St. Louis music.
I totally agree, and I tell people all the time that it's there are a lot of artists here. I feel like because there is such a sense of community and a lot of people know each other. Even if you don't know everyone in a band, you probably know one
Hmm.
musician out of it. Um, and I've felt the same way, that just the music community as a whole, from even just the rap artists. I've been to, rap shows, to R&B, to soul, to jazz, and I feel like, everyone, as far as the people that I've met and interacted with, have been really just supportive, encouraging each other, and the same as music community is a nice one.
Yeah,
I-
I find the more weird they are, the better.
yeah,
Because I'm a little
exactly.
fellow weirdo. Like, I love the abstract, like people who are out here making original compositions and like,
Yeah,
oh God, it's so much craziness in St. Louis.
so much.
But I'm definitely just trying to move around and step out of my comfort zone of making music by myself, because when I do work with other people, that expands my repertoire as a producer or musician. They teach me things that I don't know about. Oh, Ryan Marquez, I have a song coming out with him this year.
Oh, I love
Beautiful, beautiful.
Ryan.
Yes, we got a. It's like a Marvin Gaye esque baby making music.
Nice,
Because I was like, I've been
nice.
putting too much dark stuff out. I got to bring out the love
Lighten
songs
it up.
again.
So how
So
has the so how has
oh,
the
go ahead.
I'm sorry. So how has the pandemic affected you and your career?
Oh man, so definitely can't do music full time anymore. Gigs have definitely slowed down. It's impacted a lot of musicians and artists in general. Um, And I was just talking to one of my friends today, one of my musician friends, and I was saying, we were talking about how hard it's hit us, but then I was like, at the same time, I noticed this energy of like drive, like this hard. Everybody is going even harder than they were before, even if it is just via social media. I'm noticing just a lot of people are expressing themselves, putting themselves out there more, and it's just kind of influenced me to do the same thing. And then I'm an introvert, so
Okay.
it hasn't done much socially, just made me more introverted.
Right.
But again, I've been just stepping out of my comfort zone, and it's made me miss people, honestly. I'll be honest about that. So I've been trying to just be around as much inspiring people as possible, and it's been mostly just musicians.
So Mark, we had Mark Harris on, and Mark talked about how, as he was trying to get his music out and get it heard, that that people were trying to change how he made music. They wanted to make him
Mm.
become more mainstream. Have you experienced that?
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's more so in a sense, they don't even try to change my music other than like telling me to make them shorter.
Okay.
uh, that's my problem. I love writing ballads, and I will have them go on and on. Like Low the Rose is 8 minutes and 32 seconds. I had to cut it down for the radio version to 6 minutes, and that was still too long. So
Wow.
yeah, as far as I'm telling you, like getting into the jazz community helped me step more into just being more confident in myself as somebody who writes their own music and plays their own music, to a point to where I don't want it to end. All those jam sessions, all them hours playing at the dark room, like my songs are way longer. Um but overall, I forgot almost. I got so much in the tangent. I forgot where you were asking.
Oh, and you were
You're right
talking, and I
on
was
it.
enjoying it. I forgot what I asked too. So, so,
You
so we're okay.
I'll tell it. You were just saying, he was just saying how people want you to be more, like, make more mainstream music instead
Yes.
of,
And I can't believe Mark Harris, like Mark, and that's funny. The last time I talked to Mark Harris, we had a discussion. He was like, "You know what's dope about us?" He was like, "We are truly original. Like we have our own sound." And I haven't seen that man in like a year or so, but I always remember that. So that's baffling that people are even like, "Don't put that man in the box. Like let that man be his amazing, brilliant self. Like that's what made him Mark Harris in the first place." But I'm kind of in that same boat to where it's more so people try to tame me. um Again, that outspokenness,
Mm,
like, oh, that's not going to go good with a audience of people who are not comfortable speaking on things like race and sexism, um or any kind of social causes for that matter. But as far as my music, I I haven't been, you know, limited as far as people trying to make me go mainstream music wise. Cause some of the music I write mainstream music as well.
right.
And that's where I go back into that whole issue of like being put in one box.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's especially when you're so creative like you are, like you want to dabble in different things, you
Hmm.
know. So it would be boring for you to just do the same type of music or same type of genre or just one genre.
Well, like you said, like it gets to a point to where it's you are so outside of yourself that it is uncomfortable and your body does react. My body
Mhm.
does definitely react on a spiritual, mental, emotional level as well. If I am not authentically expressing myself and I'm putting myself out as an artist that does just only this kind of music, it's like, no, I want to put out my weird obscure stuff. I produce beats as well, and I want to put out my love ballads, and I want to put out some rap music. Like,
Absolutely, as you should. I'm here for it. And I
Now,
think
um
most people, obviously, most people like, not most people, a lot of people like a lot of different genres. So, I don't think that's a bad thing.
yeah.
But you have some upcoming performances. I know you can't give all the details about them, but if you could just give us the dates so that we people can check back on your social media or your website and see, you know, what it's all about.
Oh yes, I have a show on March 11th at the Doc Zac. This is actually a show by Rose Whip. For you risque folks, this is a burlesque
Ooh,
show.
yes.
My first, this should be interesting. I'm going to get quite dressed up for this, but this is my
Oh my
first time
God.
going to a burlesque show, so I'm interested to see what happens. And then, not to put myself out there again, but I low key want to learn how to do it.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm going to the Boom Boom Room
Ah,
next for Valentine's Day weekend.
I haven't been there, but I want to go there so bad. Like
Yeah,
that
I
place.
heard they sell out like almost every weekend. But that
Wow.
sounds amazing. March 11th. Okay, cool.
Yes, that's a Friday, and then my show, my own solo show with the band and backing vocalists, and
Hmm.
new originals, singles that I've put out, and some favorites that I love to cover. That's going to be at the Blue Strawberry on April 8th. So
Okay.
definitely looking forward to that. And other than that, just really just focusing on recording these songs so everybody can hear them.
Yes, please.
so now I know you come from a musical family. Do you think that of course, that's going to be an influence, but do you feel like um, there was pressure there that you had to do something musical?
Oh no, not at all. Actually, the opposite.
Okay.
um, because my family is they are all mostly church musicians. And coming from that strict Christian upbringing, not that they frowned upon me doing secular music, but I can tell it was more so like, I could tell some judgment there. Um, and then just the whole like, coming from a working class family, of people who didn't they didn't try to go full time with music. It was just something, especially as church musicians or Christians themselves, they, how most religious people are like, well, yeah, I'm just going to keep it in church. That's what my mom was definitely. So it's more so just like me kind of stepping outside of that. Um, again, coming from a working class family, everybody wants you to do that standard 9 to 5 and don't take any kind of risk and, save up and working paycheck to paycheck kind of thing. And it was just like I saw the risk and the disadvantages of being an artist. That whole struggling artist
Hmm.
is real.
Hmm.
Um, Especially with COVID, but it's just like my passion for it and the fact that it has literally been something again that has saved my life. Like I can't stop. Even when I try to stop, I always say music is like that lover you can't leave. Like you can't leave him for nothing.
So when you talk about relationships, the music industry is notorious for um, bad relationship uh, medium. How
Oh
do you
boy.
navigate that?
Why you gotta ask this question? Oh boy. Um I mean, that's the kind of the synopsis of most of my songs. That's that's the problem. Um, you know, uh I hate getting these comparisons, but like Adele and Taylor Swift and Mary J. Blige. I write about what goes on in my life. Again, that is how I process my emotions. That's how I deal with the situation. And if it's a song about you, you're just gonna have to deal with it. I'm not gonna. I don't say your name in the song, but
Oh, oh, some small consolation. it's probably it's probably not like they won't somebody won't know.
yeah.
Uh,
And they are mostly about other artists, other musicians. So it is that's the thing, like music is so much a part of my life. It's always been a part of my love life. And it's just that whole I've learned, I've had to learn the hard way. I mean, it damn near almost, ruined my career in a sense to where I, you know, was a love addict, just this love sick, hopeless romantic person. And I feel things intensely. And again, growing up as that quiet, shy kid, I would have crushes and never say anything to them for years. And it's like when I finally started dating, it would be so intense that, eventually two artists coming together, it's gonna be some drama, some mess. Uh
mhm.
And then just another thing about dating other artists is like this weird competitive thing. Like men, I notice are intimidated by women in the same field as them. I don't know, that's a whole thing. But it just was always tumultuous. And that's what the
Yeah.
songs are about. Is like me ending that, me respecting boundaries and not just like, oh, being caught up in the intensity of the music and the affection and all of that. So, being more grown up, maturing, and being more professional about it, basically, and not getting involved with musicians ever again.
Uh, good luck.
Okay.
I was like, I can't because I won't have anybody else to play with. I'll just be
See,
singing
yeah,
and chilling.
like who am I
Eh,
gonna have
you
jam
know,
sessions with, man?
See, and I do want to make note that that you left out a lot of detail. So you went into detail, big detail earlier, and you left out a lot of detail when you got to that part of the
Wait.
conversation. I'm just gonna skip over that.
right?
Oh
That was
yes, yes.
sufficient detail,
Some things I have to avoid.
Okay.
right?
So
Especially when we're talking about other people.
one of the things that you mentioned was, as a woman in the field, that you felt a lot of, I don't know, misgivings, and it is a, you know, boys uh, field or boys area. Um, do you feel any different about it now that you have more experience, or is it still the same thing? You're just better at dealing with it.
It's kind of both. Because I originally allowed my own self to kind of be restricted. 'Cause I was like, oh, I'm not as good as the guys, and but I put myself around respectable, dope musicians who believed in me, and they whipped me into shape. Being around the guys, like, that's what the majority of my influences are, or just a lot of artists who are men, as a producer and as a musician as well. So they definitely being in that environment molded me because it's very competitive. They are very honest,
Okay.
very honest. If you suck, you will know. I've turned into somebody who is very straight to the point. I used to be a pushover type of person, and it taught me to stand up for myself. Now, on the flip side, the only thing I still deal with as far as the sexism is the business side of things, being my own manager, being my own marketing person, having to talk to the venues and the organizers and having to do everything by myself. I've dealt with a lot of predatory situations to where they think I don't know anything. I come to them about contracts and, it's not taken seriously. Just a lot of professional boundaries that I know wouldn't be crossed if I were a guy.
Yeah, I
So
hear you on that.
same for you, Leica.
You know, definitely, absolutely. And I don't know if it's I don't always know if it's, me being a woman, or if some people are just like that, like kind of cutthroat or trying to sell you short, or things like that. I never know if it's me being a woman or if they just trying to get over on everybody. You know.
Ah,
Yeah, it
Um,
it's mostly just dealing with people who try to exploit you for their own gain. And also dealing with the weird, creepy pervs.
that part.
I didn't start laughing at that, but it's serious. But I'm laughing because it's a thing. It's real.
That's
Um,
totally a thing.
that being
Yeah.
held against you. People literally like not providing you opportunities because they feel like you rejected them. Just a lot of weird energy, a lot of
Mhm.
egos that can get easily bruised just because of me being a woman.
Mhm.
Um, and
Yeah.
definitely the competition thing is new for me. It's actually kind of funny. It's like, oh man, I must be dope. Like if it's very weird. It's like they try to date you and compete with you at the same time. It's so weird. And that's just like other musicians, not everybody, just a couple of little drama kings. So yeah,
oh.
fun times.
So I'm sorry.
That
What was those initials? What was that name?
uh
what what was what was that name? I think we'll have to get. I think we'll have to get him on.
Oh God!
right, right. We got to hear
Don't
his
do.
side of
Oh
the
God!
story.
Don't do. Oh boy, that's too funny.
Do
so
people ever ask you when you're on some of the songs, like, okay, who is this song about? I've had people ask me that,
Man,
like on some of my songs. Who is this about? What was it? What's his name?
I've had a angry inbox from somebody like, yeah, I heard you, because they thought I wrote it about their husband. That, yeah.
oh, what what was you singing about?
I hope they
oh,
don't watch this podcast. They're gonna be even more upset. But again, like, it's just a lot of making me out to be somebody that I'm not. It's like, dude, I'm just trying to express and put my music out here and heal myself and help heal other people, man.
Right.
And just make pretty sounds.
so have you gotten over your stage fright, or you just managing it better?
I've gotten over to a point to where I get depressed if I'm not on the stage. I still get nervous, if it's a big gig or it's a lot of people and it's high pressure. I think. Oh, speaking of shows that I liked, like highlights, the TEDx had a
Oh yes,
women's
I
event
almost forgot about
downtown.
that.
Yeah. And I was so nervous for that. That was like, the cameras and oh God, all those lights and it was extremely empowering at the same time. So it's like the intensity of my emotions can sometimes make me nervous, but once I get into it and I just release and let go, then I'm kind of over it. But I still get a little nervous, definitely.
And congrats on that, by the way. That's TEDx is definitely a big deal.
Thank you. Yeah, that was man. And then the speakers, just being a part of that, and then having that song come out at the same time, like, you know, super feminist, rah rah, let's go, strong women type of deal. So it's just like it clarified, like, okay, Katara, you are on the right track. Like, keep going, keep stepping into your power. Stop being afraid to just be yourself and put yourself out there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, is there are there particular artists that you at this stage of your career would like to work with?
Oh man. And you mean locally or in general?
Anywhere. I mean, what? How do you see your career progressing with, working with other artists? What artists would you like to work with? Because I'm
Oh
sure.
man. I'll start with my lofty ambitions. We have Kamasi Washington, um, Terrence Martin, that whole like group of jazz cats, Robert Glasper and all of them.
Hmm.
Um, Definitely Alicia Keys and Stevie Wonder, just because those are the folks that started it all for me.
Hmm.
And then on a local level, um, I don't know if y'all know this guy named Tristanio Beats. Freaking amazing. The producer side of
Yeah.
me wants to work with him definitely. Owen
Have
Ragland,
you
I've
done
worked with him a
something with
billion
him before?
times.
Have you
Um,
ever done something with him before?
no, not Tristanio, no.
Oh, okay.
But Owen Ragland, little young genius prodigy, amazing. That's who that's who got me into the dark room in the first place, was singing with him. Who else? Oh man, Tonina.
Oh yeah.
I had some shows with her, but I never like wrote a song with her. But we performed at the Pulitzer together, and that was like
Nice.
another empowering thing because they were talking about Egyptian women pharaohs.
Oh
So that
cool.
was cool. Yeah. Who else? It's so many people. Jesse Gannon, man, Jesse Gannon's so awesome to me. Um, what? Adam, the pianist, Adam
Man.
Lennon.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh man, he's amazing too. Steady working more and more with I just like I said, I'm really like the jazz scene has kind of become my home, and I'm trying to get to know all these jazz musicians. Like I would have loved to play with um I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name. He just passed. And
The drummer.
Montez.
yeah, Montez Coleman.
Mhm.
As soon as I got on the jazz scene, I was hearing about this man, like endless stories about this man. And I was like, man, I got to jam with him one day. It was like I got cool with Freddie Spencer, and like I just heard a lot of stories about him and saw, his gigs and stuff and videos of him. And then when he passed, it's like the impact of who he was like hit me. It's like, man, I ain't gonna never like I wanted to play with that guy and just, get to know him and
Right.
meet him. But him, Kim Massey, like I wanted to meet her. Um,
Yeah.
so it's kind of just, getting into that phase of wanting to work with the legends and the greats, the folks who have been here doing this, who, started it all from what I see. I grew up looking and being like, oh, the bistro, that whole grand center,
Yeah.
dreaming of playing in places like that. So yeah, I definitely want to collaborate with everybody who is on this scene, really. As many people as I can.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I have to apologize. Since Warren is off camera, we text back and forth to kind of make communication. So I was looking down. I was paying attention to what you were saying, but I'm gonna drag
Hear me?
Warren into the conversation. So go ahead and say what you were saying, Warren.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, I was just telling him we have some fantastic musicians on our crew that work with us. Ronnie Barrage and Al Caldwell, both
They're
actually
out of New
musicians.
York.
Yeah,
Mm.
but they're from here and they may be open to doing something with you. They come in and out of town. I mean, Al's really busy. He's actually in Vanessa Williams' band, by the way.
Wow.
Yes.
And that,
He's
what's
if you follow
funny?
him on Facebook, he's crazy, but he's very talented.
I mean, I would be beyond honored. The irony is like I've been just kind of on this thing to where I've been wanting to expand and I've been pressured about New York. Um like everybody keeps telling me, every musician I meet is like, "Man, you got to go to New York." New York, Kansas City, and Cali for some reason. But Kansas City and New York, the scene up there, Oh, speaking of which, not to even go off on another tangent, but this is definitely in relation to New York. I played a festival in a group, and ended up meeting Herbie Hancock backstage, and
Oh, cool.
this when I was a newbie, and I was like, Herbie, how do I solo better? I felt so embarrassed asking him. He was
Ah,
like, "In time, you'll get it in time." And he was like,
aw.
I spoke to his drummer, his bass player, and they all told me, they was like, "Don't worry about being a woman. Like, just go to New York, go on one of them jazz clubs, and jam with them." And he was like, "It's that
Yeah.
simple."
Exactly.
Yeah, I
So,
actually just did a gig in New York earlier this month, and the thing about it is it's really not that different from St. Louis. Like, I
hmm
mean, it's different from St. Louis, but how you got on the scene in St. Louis is the same way you get on the scene with in New York. Knowing people, or getting to know people, networking, and just putting yourself out there is basically the same sort of scenario.
definitely. And I'm grabbing my computer charger. But that's kind of been my whole thing, is the next part of my, getting over my social anxiety is getting over traveling by myself, or going out of town, and putting myself out there in these new environments. So that's been something I've been fighting all year, trying to get over this fear of like going out of town and putting myself out there to different people.
So Warren wanted to play a video. You want to cue it up, Warren? So we'll give that.
Sure.
We'll get Warren uh in here.
Yeah, I've
You
got
got it queued up. Whenever you queued up and
low
ready,
well,
it's on you, Doc.
okay, let me go back. I'm gonna have to
Because
share.
I didn't think to do it. The technical guy that does all of the graphics and stuff didn't think to queue up the video. So that's why I need Warren.
Let's see. That's gonna be a
Meanwhile, I'm over here like, what video?
Well, you on her site? Did you go to her site? She's got like three videos on there.
yeah, I got the one right now. Can you see it?
Yeah, go
Oh
ahead.
yes. You know the rules that came from concrete. You will dispose anything that can compete with all the lies to yourself. You will believe. You know the sun that exposes you
crazy.
Okay, that's over a minute. We don't want to go too farther.
Huh?
I said that's over a minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have to be careful about playing like
Too much.
copyright-written songs because we'll
Yeah.
get flagged on
Oh,
YouTube.
oh yeah, freaking
Yeah.
YouTube, man.
hmm
Hopefully, we won't get flagged.
Oh my
The
god.
only thing, and I want people to check that out, like on YouTube itself, because sometimes when we play music over, the sound quality is not as good as if you just go, you know, directly to the source.
Mm.
From what I can tell, did you hear that? Was it like that on your end too?
Yeah, it was
Katara?
a little choppy for
Yeah.
me.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a little
Okay,
choppy.
okay.
Yeah.
I guess on my end,
But-
since I'm playing it, I can't tell.
Right.
probably
Yeah, it
not.
was clear to. It was cool to me.
Oh, it was cool to you?
Was it? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely, you guys go to YouTube, check out her new video. And I actually got to get going, so we probably need to wrap up unless you guys want to continue without me.
Well, I want to get Katarra to tell everybody where they can follow you. What are your social media and your website for those people
Oh
that
yes.
are listening and not watching the video.
Oh yes, you can find me everything on me at my website www.katarra music.com. You can find me on Instagram at Katarra Music, Twitter as well. But you can find all of my social media and music platforms on my website. They'll send you straight to them. KatarraMusic.com.
Very good.
Awesome.
So
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure, and I
you.
cannot wait to see you.
I could talk to y'all
perform.
forever, man.
oh, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you to hold on. I'm sorry. What'd you say, Warren?
After Laker leaves, after we sign off.
Yeah. Can I get you to hold on, Katarra, and we'll talk for a few minutes?
Yeah, that's fine.
Very good. I want to thank everybody for joining us this afternoon, and we will be back. City Jazz Sessions is brought to you by St. Louis City Jazz, a 501c3 company dedicated to music education and appreciation. The CEO is Magic Man 50, and for more ways to connect with City Jazz Sessions, visit cityjazzsessions.wixsite.com/St. Louis. The City Jazz Sessions team includes host, content director, and guest coordinator, jazz great Ronnie Barrage. Follow Ronnie at ronniebarrage.biz. Host, website designer, graphic artist, content director, and guest coordinator, singing sensation Leica. Discover more about Leica at leicamusic.com. Additional production services are provided by Lions Den Productions. Go to thelionsdenstl.wixsite.com/home. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more great content.